I drive my car up to the lake as if there's someone to awake. I haven't been to bed for days, I live in a twilight haze. And I set my heart to the setting sun, and I hope that no one else has done it. And the drinks are never far, open up the bar. I miss you every single day. I wait until it's not your way. I hate the way I'm straying.
Have you done other podcasts? Have you been a guest? Do you want more volume?
Sounds okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
think it's all
good.
good. It's quite a different experience with the headphones.
Yeah.
You are kind of zoned in.
It does zone you in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we would be flying a helicopter normally in this situation, but yeah.
Maybe I need headphones.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah. You can go crazy with the quality, and I started off with this. I've got no water. I just started off with all of this gear, and so it's all I've kind of ever known. But
The most important thing are the people sitting behind all this stuff. So.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, agreed. But now to answer your question, I've been on a couple of guest ones. Varying styles and formats. The OPS one, I don't know if you've seen that one. The guys just down the road, the property investment.
Oh, cool.
Guys, they've leaned pretty hard into it. I think they've got a couple of thousand episodes, and they've got a very hardcore, like, intense vibe.
Yeah.
And I just went in there totally blind, as I do.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck, you guys are just next level.
Like real hardcore. I can imagine like a hardcore punk vibe would be quite good.
Nah, this was like an interrogation. Like, I'm going to waterboard you next.
Oh, mate.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Shit.
I mean, it was somewhat fun, but, I guess like you said, with the hard things, it's sort of a...
Was that before you had started your one?
No, it was about halfway in.
Yeah.
Maybe a year or so in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, bro. Well, welcome to our little podcast in Pilgrim. Probably the only podcast filmed in a cafe, maybe, or espresso bar. And you get a free breakfast.
Oh, amazing.
Do you cook for your guests, David?
No. I was cooking last night and I cut my finger, actually. So that's
Oh, mate, how'd you do that?
Yeah, just...
Not the old avocado, was it?
No, it's the onion, the red onion.
Oh, was it just a bit slippery?
I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
I was preoccupied.
I found in kitchen, like leeks, they can be really slippery sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not watching what you're doing.
Watch the leak.
Yeah.
Got it.
Hey, so your podcast is called, I was talking about it before. Which one comes first? 10 million, 10 years? 10 years, 10 million?
10 million, 10 years.
10 million, 10 years.
Despite the logo.
So pretty interesting kind of title, and that's what kind of captured my attention. So presumably the objective there is to make $10 million in 10 years. So everyone, probably the first question everyone wants to know is, how's it going? Like, where are you up to? If you looked in your bank account today, Dave?
And 10 million Vietnamese dong don't count, mate.
Yeah, it's definitely not a linear path to 10 million in net wealth. So I started about 2.5 years ago.
Yep.
August 25th, 2022, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, turning 38, freaked out a little bit, had that sort of crisis, like done some good things and had a good life, but I'd really like to establish a larger base of net wealth, essentially.
Yep.
And so I thought, decade's a reasonable amount of time. It's not a year. I'm not looking to wake up in 2 weeks' time and have that much money. So I thought 10 years, 10 million, it's got a ring to it. And part of the podcast was just documenting the process, having interesting conversations along the way.
For sure.
And it's been a great journey so far.
Yeah, because you talk, like, is it fair to say mainly you talk to business people, right?
Generally, I've had a few randoms on there, and I like that. I like to mix it up, but it's generally a business flavour, I guess.
Yeah, and you're like gleaning advice from them, yeah.
Somewhat, yeah.
Hopefully,
somewhat. I guess. Yeah, I guess more insight than advice, but definitely perspective. That's why it's not necessarily a case of like bigger is better. I've had some really interesting guests that have all originated with one source, and so this whole like tree of network came to me. Like one guy would refer another would refer another, and so I got this guy Leadhead comes to mind. He's developed a line of hats for tradies with the pencil inside. Great guy, and then he introduced me to Rick's Ribs, this other guy, and then this tattoo artist, and just like this really cool like strand of people.
Yes.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, had some wicked guests, and a lot of them I've invited back on for like a recap episode, an anniversary edition, just to check in and see how those predictions were from a year ago.
For their own personal predictions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, either where they're at, where they've evolved to, what's happened since we last chat. So
And how are you attempting to make $10 million? Like what's your kind of means of gathering that wealth?
Yeah. So when I first started, I had no idea, like literally no idea.
Wow.
Well, that's not fair. I had a few rough ideas. But since starting, I've narrowed the focus down quite a lot. So I've narrowed that vector, I guess you could say. And so the model to get there now is to grow my business, so the coaching and events business, which will morph into more of a consultancy.
Yeah.
In
so
time.
That's your day job, right?
That's my day job. Yeah. Not a full-time podcaster.
No.
Podcast is side hustle, and so to grow that to a point where I can sell a minority stake for $10 million,
cool.
in around that year 9 or maybe 9.5 mark.
Yeah.
So that's the rough plan. And,
sweet.
And who knows? It could change, but that's what I'm aiming for right now.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, that's cool. So, and are there other employees in that business? Or?
Not at this stage, no. No, it's just me at the moment.
Yeah.
So a couple of contractors, like I use, contractors to do the podcast, for example.
Yeah.
But looking to hire first quarter next year. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so bring on like an operations type person.
Yeah. And what kind of study did you do to become the business coach?
Yeah, so nothing nothing textbook or nothing like course related or university related. I've had 7 different businesses over my career.
Wow.
I've also worked with a few awesome business coaches as a client, so I've sort of known the model, I've known the value proposition.
Yeah.
And I've had some really good like wins through that. And so cool. If I'm honest, I just stumbled into it. I was chatting with someone and looking for the next stage or the next challenge, I guess, and the suggestion was made, like, have you considered business coaching? And my first answer was, well, no, I don't really feel qualified to do that, for maybe what your question was referring to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And she's like, well, what are you talking about? Like, you love helping people, you love business, you love the entrepreneurial spirit. Like, it seems like it would be a perfect thing for you. Why don't you do a few trial clients? Why don't you work with a couple of people and just see how it goes? Like, just do it for free and see what happens. So I did that, and absolutely loved the process, and the trial clients were loving it, and so I just leaned in harder. And
so it's a real world navigation rather than a bunch of abstract tools.
100%. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's very much the opposite of like a structured approach, and so the coaching program that I offer, I guess it's a lot more bespoke to the person rather than going through a sequence and going through a textbook. So I mean, I guess had good results, I would say. The clients that I've worked with, typically they don't leave. Like, they've typically stuck around. So I think
what do you like about entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur? What floats your boat on that?
I don't know. I've always just had it. I've always been that sort of way inclined. Like, I've always seeked out opportunity or ways to do things better. I don't know. I quite like the creative element of it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's hard to describe.
7 businesses, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, and varying, iterations and sizes, right?
Yeah.
Like the first one was a firewood business.
Yeah.
Definitely more of a side hustle category than a fully fledged entity. But
I was just looking up entrepreneur, because we like words around here, so we look stuff up, look at their source and all of that. It means to undertake, entrepreneur.
Yeah, right.
Someone who undertakes, must be French. English. No, it's
Undertake.
English.
It's kind of like Undertaker.
Not in that
My
way.
entrepreneurship career
Not
has been
way,
very similar to undertaking.
No, that's the wrong context, Dave.
Digging my own grave.
But it's to start off, like undertake.
Yeah.
Go forth.
Oh, okay. Undertake.
Blank sheet of paper or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a certain mindset and wiring, I think, to jump into self-employment. What do you guys think? Do you think it's like a thing you're either born with or you're not, or that willingness to take risk? And
I think you probably definitely learn it.
yeah,
I think it's probably wired into us as physical beings.
Yeah, some people are definitely more creative. Some people are more, keen on taking risks, all sorts of things like that, eh? It does seem to, there's a wee bit of, like, nature maybe, but, definitely nurture, I'd say. It's a tough one. It's just like we are the sum of our kind of parts and all of our experience, you know? It's hard to unravel that. It's super complex. But I think I would love to be an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, but it still kind of eludes me. But I love the process of, like you say, making things better and refining and just sort of, getting like having ideas and working them through to fruition. It's freaking awesome.
but that word success is such a
it's pretty loaded.
varying term, isn't it? Like, what does that mean? It's such
for sure.
Is it money? Is it happiness? Is it?
I was reading a little bit about, how do you describe that Japanese word? Is it ikigai?
Oh, the ikigai, yeah.
That would be success, following
I think so.
Your primary point in your nature, in the nature of your being.
Kind of like that driver.
The essence of what drives you, what you love. That would be success, wouldn't it?
I think so.
Or one of the ingredients of success in our lives.
Yeah, for sure. I love that ikigai model. I can never remember the fourth thing that overlaps, right? Like, it's what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can make money doing, and there's a fourth one, but yeah.
Right. I've never heard of it.
Oh, but, yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, I'm getting it today for my partner. She lived in Japan for a while, so I said, "Oh, what's this ikigai?" And she knew it straight away.
Oh. So it's pervasive in Japanese culture, and because they work hard.
No, I don't think it's necessarily pervasive in Japanese culture, but it's like it's just a book about following what floats your boat, what makes you happy, and what drives you, and what makes you feel good, right?
Yeah,
it'd be a rough description.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. They talk about those quadrants, or components of life, and how they interact, and how it ties into longevity and health, and just how, like, when you've sort of found that intersection of those four things, you can generally live longer and be healthier, and you have a better quality of life.
Oh yeah.
So your life's got a bit more meaning, perhaps, when you wake up in the morning and maybe you're a little bit excited or something.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're excited.
You want to get out of bed and do stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You're not dreading the day, right? Yeah.
So do you reckon? So it's what you teach isn't necessarily formulaic, is it? Like you're saying, it's kind of you're dealing with each person individually. How does that operate? Like, people come to you because they have a problem, or do they come to you because, like, why would someone approach you for help? Yeah,
mostly I work with business owners that are in growth mode, like they're ambitious, they're quite clear on where they're going. And sometimes it's more for the sake of more, but often it's to just create something larger and to grow. And so I tend to work with owners that are relatively well locked in, like they're generally good. They don't need a business coach per se. What they do need and what they do see value in is having a sounding board and having someone to hold them accountable at times, and to work with as a trusted advisor, and someone that is able to help work through those challenges, as they inevitably come up. They always do. And to, stay on that path and to sort of navigate the journey. But none of them need me, right? It's all about getting a few percent gain, or
that's right.
It's incremental gain. And if I can add a couple of percent, then that more than covers the fee. So we meet once a week or once every fortnight and start with the goals. That's where it all starts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And with the going back to the 10 million thing, I know we're jumping all over the place going to the coaching to the 10 million thing, but what's what's your relationship been like with money? Like, Is that something? Because that's probably not something that is that you're born with, right? That's something you kind of develop over time, and your parents have a lot of impact on that and stuff like that. The people who you meet and talk to, they've just got these goals. Do they just set a random goal and go, right, here we are, I'm driven, I'm going to do it, and it's doable? Like, is everybody's dream kind of achievable, or is it kind of like, oh, shit, mate, your one's a little bit wonky?
Yeah, I've learned a lot about goal setting in the last couple of years, and my previous belief was to set something that's a bit more realistic, have a relatively achievable goal.
Yeah.
And tick that off and then go again, right?
Yeah.
Get a bit of momentum and that sort of approach.
Yeah.
Whereas a couple of my clients are on the other end of that spectrum, which is to set this wild goal, right? Like this massive goal that's like, how the fuck are you going to get there? I've got no idea.
Well, that's what I feel like the $10 million is, right?
Yeah, see...
For me.
Yeah, I don't think that at all. I think it's totally achievable.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I flip-flop on this. I wonder if it's a bit small sometimes.
Yeah.
I wonder if I've sold myself short. And if by focusing on that, then maybe it's the wrong approach,
Who knows?
I don't know. But what I have learned, that it's really not about the money. It's not about the money at all. And
No.
I think, back to your comment around success, it's like this latest craze and at the moment is it's the quality of people you spend time with. And so whether that's customers or suppliers or vendors or contractors or people at the gym or the cafe or whatever, right? It's the people that you spend time with on a day-to-day basis, that is what makes happiness and success in my book.
Yeah,
you
relationships.
Need money. Relationships, people, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. Human relationships, they're right up there in my life of importance.
Yeah, if you can come to the end of a day and be like, man, I had some good chats today, I had some good conversations, I met some interesting people, and then if you string that together into like 7 days and you come to the end of the month and you've had 30 days, probably a couple of shitter days in there, of course, as you would expect. I think that's success. I agree. I think you can have both, though. I think you can have both quality of life plus aim toward a monetary goal. I don't think they need to be
No, you
opposing.
can perhaps have it all.
I think so.
Why not?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's good, because I have quality of life, but no money.
Right.
But we've all got our weak points. You just keep working away at it. And, and just kind of know your weak points. And
Well, I think that's a good point as well. There's this weird expectation, I think, around business ownership that we should have it all nailed and that you should be strong at details and HR and vision and finance and marketing, operations. But that's craziness, right?
It is.
Nobody's well-rounded. Nobody's just perfect.
No, you're right. And often people who have success in one area, I feel like it's almost like a law of nature, right? There's there's the seesaw, like you've got strength in this area, and that by definition means you're weak in other areas, that blind spot type of thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you open up that blind spot or somebody points it out to you, and you reluctantly might look at it, that can become one of your biggest strengths, but it can also be extremely hard. But just because it's hard doesn't mean you can't do it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think I'm quite self-aware of my blind spots, but who knows? But they wouldn't be called blind spots if they...
Yeah, that's right.
Have you guys heard that jam jar analogy? Like, if you're looking at a glass jar, a jam jar, if you're in the jam jar, if you somehow manage to shrink yourself and get into the jam jar, you wouldn't be able to read the exterior label, and that is a visual way to explain a blind spot.
Yeah, that's quite good. Yeah,
true.
You can't see it when you're in it.
Yeah, but other people can look on.
Other people can
see the label
quite clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Self-reflection and stuff is good because. I mean that's what also drives me as well. But I do some of the things that I think about often is that we kind of, what's it called when card players, they kind of fix the deck or something.
Stack the deck.
Stack the deck. Yeah, I feel like we're all doing that. I feel like I'm doing that when I look at my life. We're all kind of engineering it in a way that it seems good and palatable and shit like that. And
we need that for the ego.
Yeah, I guess we do to a certain degree. I mean, obviously, don't want to just think that you're shit all the time.
No,
but that kind of some people have the ability to stack the deck in such an amazing way. They're very, very confident, and for reasons that perhaps aren't justified. But yeah, for me, I'm always kind of looking at people with large goals, like yourself, David, and thinking, shit, that's freaking awesome. Like, how are you going to achieve that? And like, what is it that gets you from point A to point B?
Yeah, I mean, one of the tracking tools or resources that I use personally, plus the clients, is this dashboard that sort of tracks metrics, and it's trying to unravel that. It's trying to determine what does lead to confidence and good mood. And it's not just tracking business data or financial data. It's like, how was the sleep score? How much activity have you had last week? What is the amount of revenue? Like, it's just trying to unravel or like decipher what does lead to happiness and confidence. Yeah. Because I think with confidence and quality mood, life can be a lot easier. Yeah. Obviously, right? Like, I think confidence is one of those commodities that you can never have enough of. Legit confidence. Yeah. Not superficial. That's right. Or ego, but actual confidence.
No, actual real confidence that would fall into the category of success.
Yeah.
It just makes your life nice.
100%. Yeah, I think.
And the people around you. Just nice interactions. It's just nice to be around confident people.
Totally.
I like how it relates to that childlike state where you're not thinking about stuff. You're just confident and just being who you are and just flying along. Yeah. Like a little stream or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice way to live.
I love that.
And you're right. There are things like sleep. There are all of those like real kind of, your diet and all those other things that contribute towards your wellness, which then flows on to just having a generally good feel about yourself and stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, I can do this.
The other big thing I've found, and this is cliche as well, but like, the 5 people you spend time with the most, like the 5 people that are the most present in your life.
Oh yeah.
That theory of like,
I've heard a lot of people say that.
You sort of become who you hang around with.
Yeah, true.
Which makes sense if you take an extreme example, like if you hang out with, 10 billionaires, like it's probably going to help your chances of becoming one yourself, or
for sure.
10 super overweight people, like it's probably not going to help you get jacked, right?
Nah, man.
I don't know. 100%.
Steal money off the billionaires. Nah. Flip. Yeah, that's interesting. So you kind of just and the podcast. You're just like, what are the super successful people? What are the top lessons that you've learned off them, or what are the top lessons that you've learned off people who have potentially failed?
Well, that's a good question too. Yeah, I haven't probably done enough of that. But I mean, again, what's failure, right?
Yeah,
it's sort of a bit like success. Yeah. It's a word that can have a few different meanings. But one of the guests I had on board was a guy that has 10 million in net wealth, and so that was quite a pivotal episode, right?
Yeah,
because it was a goal that I'd set at the beginning-ish of the podcast, was to have someone that has 10 million has reached the goal.
Yeah,
and so I was sitting down with a guy named Aaron Green, and really nice guy, awesome dude. Did 3 back-to-back episodes at one of his places, and it was such a good way to spend a better part of a day, actually. It was booked in for an hour and a half or something, and 5 hours later I left there. Yeah, it was so good. It was such a good experience, but he really dismissed a lot of the thoughts or ideas I had around money and wealth. In that, I thought, well, if I get this 10 million, then that'll equal freedom. It'll give me options, which is understandable. You can see how totally. I thought that.
Oh, heaps of people think money is like time or freedom, or it's not kind of money per se. It represents something else to them.
But what he, I guess, was talking about and communicating was that it doesn't necessarily equal freedom. It can actually be the opposite of that. Like both the pressure to retain that wealth or to make more off it, plus, like looking around at the cars that he had, he's like, look, these take effort, like this takes maintenance, it takes care and energy. This money is almost like a burden in some ways.
Yeah, man.
He's not complaining. He's like, life's pretty good, but also
with it comes responsibility and things that we just perhaps haven't even perceived yet.
Exactly.
It's not a free ride just because you got 10 mil.
Nah, and I think that was the big takeaway from that, was that so many people can speculate or talk out of turn, talk smack.
Yeah.
But having someone that actually has it,
Yeah.
totally different, like massively different perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and there was no way to simulate that. So I guess it was a bit like the jam jar. He is outside the jam jar, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
So that was pretty impactful.
And everyone's outside everyone else's jam jar, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, kind of. So, yeah, that's cool. That's the cool thing about podcasting, right?
It is.
That reminds me of Jim Carrey. I think I told you.
I was just thinking that.
He said, look, Jim Carrey, the comedian, he was like, man, I wish everyone got rich and famous just in order to realise that it's not what they probably are looking for. Yeah.
Yes.
You can have a whole bunch of money and be very hollow and miserable. But you can also have nothing and be miserable. But you can also have nothing much and be very happy. It's a complex world.
Totally.
But money's great.
Money's great, and it's amoral. It's neither good or bad.
It's such a complex
and it's our
thing.
Relationship with it, right?
Yeah, it's such a complex thing because we each learn through our family, through our peers and all that, loads of stuff about money. Scarcity consciousness, that's rampant. Mm-hmm. That's awful.
Yeah.
Oh, like abundance, the abundance mindset and the poverty
just
mindset.
Thinking life's always a struggle and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you end up that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
Where that's just all in your head.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah,
but that's been indoctrinated into a lot of people. And they'll be determined to say that is what reality is, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, that's all in your head type of thing is what drives the other side of the coin, right? Is also, well, hey, I can take what's in my head out and I can replace it with something else.
Correct.
And I can head in that direction with it.
That's right. Once you know maybe you're the skipper and you've got a bit of navigation tools and know that how I can navigate out of this, then you're on your way.
Yeah, but I still, man, it makes me nervous because, you want to keep, I want to keep my feet on the ground, right?
Oh, it goes without saying. Yep.
Yeah. I'm quite a manic person, David.
Oh, yeah? What does that mean?
Not manic. I mean, some days I'm real hyped up and excited about something, and then, I don't know, I feel like a doctor would, define me as ADHD or something.
Well, I think...
They'll define everyone as that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, I reckon. I just don't see it. I don't
slightly cynical yet.
My unqualified opinion, everyone is a bit ADHD. Right?
Yeah.
Like we're all
about certain topics.
We're all in that spectrum somewhere.
Yeah, we're all
everyone's crazy about something.
It seems like there's a lot more chat around it these days, but I think we're all in that spectrum somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
100%. But yeah, the money one's interesting. It's a combination of upbringing and friend group and I don't know.
Even I was just talking about memes and movies that unconsciously say money's a bad thing and people with money are rubbish and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in movies.
Oh, man.
And so people watch these movies and they're just churning up this stuff, like rich people are bad and all this sort of virtue signalling stuff.
What's
and
that?
The people who make it
is that a trope?
loaded.
Is that a trope? Like something...
I guess you
or
could
is there something different?
describe that as a trope.
Yeah, I think
but
there's...
But it's an unconscious meme.
I don't think it's unconscious. I think it's conscious. I think people...
A lot of it's unconscious.
Yeah. I think, there's some people that say, some of the billionaires, they kind of try and pull the ladder up after themselves. They want to prevent other people achieving the same success, monetary success that they have. And I think, I've seen the same thing in our culture, that money is a bad thing through movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, you see it through movies.
It's not spiritual. It's not kind of enlightened. It's it's like carnal and associated with greed. Ultimately,
you see it all the time. Like on the Titanic movie.
Milton watches it every week.
Yeah, mate. At least once a week.
Really?
No, I don't. Twice a week. Nah, I don't watch the Titanic. I haven't seen it for a long time. But I remember when the young girl, and is it Jack, the young guy and stuff, later on when she goes back, there's meant to be a jewel that went down with the Titanic, and it's super valuable. And I think people are going back for submersible years later, and maybe is it Rose? Rose. I think she's an old lady, and she's helping them find this whereabouts this jewel might be in the boat. And so they're going down looking for this jewel. I think this is how it goes.
I think I actually, now that you say this, I missed the whole point of the whole movie, yeah.
This is just a little bit at the end. But they're looking for this jewel, and
I vaguely remember.
Big jewel's worth a lot of money. And it works out that she has it. She took it with her when the boat sunk, but she didn't tell anybody. And in the movie, it cuts in and it just shows her pull it out of her bag, and she's on the back of the boat in the middle of the ocean.
Not the Titanic, just another random boat.
Yeah, sorry, when years later when they're looking for the Titanic wreck,
yeah,
and they found it, and they can't find this jewel because she's got it.
Yeah.
And she just goes, and just throws it overboard. Because she's saying, like, love transcends money and stuff, which, yeah, that's totally fine. But she could have also used that jewel to help a lot of people.
True. Yeah. I mean...
there was an unconscious meme there saying, money's bad and rich people suck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think... You get a lot of that in movies.
Yeah. And I mean, it's true. Love does transcend. Like, it is better than money.
I agree.
Is better.
I agree.
But
I agree.
Also,
love comes first, 100%.
You've got to respect money, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you can't... It's neither... Like, it's that black and white switch. Good, bad, evil.
Like you said, it's amoral. It's got no morality to it.
Nah.
Except what you put onto it. Like anything else, like your car.
Yeah, it's not one or the other, right?
Nah.
You don't need to have one or the other. You can have both.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think with business and entrepreneurship, like, there's not many bad entrepreneurs that I know. Like, there's not many bad,
you just met one.
like the evil, like, Scrooge McDuck kind of persona, right?
Yeah, true.
Like, I don't know many of those guys. Like, probably one or two come to mind. But generally, I think most business owners want to create something. They want to help people. They want to employ people. They want to do good.
Mm.
Yeah, generally entrepreneurs want to make the world a better place.
Exactly,
for sure.
exactly.
And that's why they're successful, because they've got something other people want. That's the reality of it.
I think so.
It's not some evil, miserable
not at all
bugger who wants to be superior to other people and destroy everything.
Yeah, and we have to be careful, like, with people that we don't know, like Bill Gates or George Soros and stuff like that. I mean, it's so easy to assume that what they're doing is, like they're pulling the strings and stuff like that. But I think they're not. I think there was, who was it, Eric Weinstein, I think, said he hung out with a lot of famous people, Jeffrey Epstein, the Clintons, all of that type of thing. He wasn't kind of totally involved, but and he said they feel powerless. He got asked, like, what are they like? And he goes, you know what, they're kind of insecure and they feel powerless, like the world's most powerful people. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, there's a book I just read called Never Enough. It's a Canadian entrepreneur that wrote it, but he talks about this journey of, like, starting his business, no employees, just him in a garage kind of thing, and then just going through the different layers of growth and, getting to the billionaire stage. And he's like, that constant chase that, some people are on that treadmill, right? Mm. And as the title suggests, never enough. Like, you just can't get to this level of happiness.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, but I guess what was funny, and I guess what it does illustrate, though, is that maybe in that territory of billionaires, he didn't like them. He didn't like these people. Mm. And so he almost had a reality check that, it was actually the grind that I did love. It was the growth stage. It was the struggle stage of growing the business and fear over payroll the next week, that kind of chapter of his life. Yeah.
I've heard stuff around that recently about people, in different areas of life. They actually enjoy the nervousness. Even though they've done a podcast 1 million times, they actually still kind of... And they don't want it to go away. Or when they step up on stage to play the guitar or whatever, they kind of don't want that nervousness to go away completely, because they feel like it will... they'll become complacent.
What's your goal with the podcast, if I may ask?
Okay.
Bit random.
I don't have very many goals, really, because I've set goals in the past and I've just never achieved them. So I thought, what's the point, Dave? The goal of this podcast, or the purpose, was just to basically to let more people know about Pilgrim.
Cool.
Yeah. So, invite someone on the podcast. They've got family members that might watch it, and then that's 20, 50 more people that just know Pilgrim exist.
Go Pilgrim.
That was it. It was just a little online thing. Normally, we rely on foot traffic, and the city has been dead for 6 years. So,
also, there's just an empty space here. So it's like, why not fill it with something?
Yeah. And often we're talking to customers just crazy conversations anyway, right?
But, like for me, it would be just growing, like interfacing sociologically and growing.
Nice.
Meeting other people, meeting other characters and worlds, and interfacing, learning and growing.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's what I get out of it. I love it, and I love that with the customers. That's probably the best part of coming to work.
I think we've been pushing ourselves further. Well, personally, I have.
Yeah, I think
like you were on the winter plunge, with Brett.
With Brett
down at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that was something I'd never ever normally do, and so I think I've used the podcast and different people I've met through the cafe to just do stuff I wouldn't normally do, and have an excuse. Yeah, because I think I need an excuse to do something.
Maybe we all do.
Yeah.
Because I think as humans we don't really like hard things because it equals risk. Or, we're trying to preserve our life, and so I think hard things equal danger.
Yeah.
But you got to go against that, I think.
I
that's
think
where
so.
the magic is.
Sure.
I think we're too comfortable. We're definitely too comfortable.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've evolved to be way too comfortable.
For sure.
Because we're surviving, so
Yeah.
don't do anything. It might be the wrong thing. So don't do nothing.
Man, I think the culture, the current state of the world, everything reflects that pretty well. We've become, well, in some cases it's been physical laziness and physical problems, right? But man, I listened to that podcast with Joe Rogan and Stacey Mean, I think his name is, or Casey Mean. And man, he was just talking about the health of America, and it's just shot. It's so bad. But yeah, our comfort has led to, like our prosperity has, led to a lot of negative stuff.
You know that saying? I'm about to butcher it, but it's like the good times lead to strong men. No, weak men. Weak men lead to hard times, etc. That one? Yeah.
Oh, it's very true.
I think about that a bit.
Tough times make hard men.
Yeah.
Hard men make easier times.
Something like that.
None of us can remember it. And then it creates soft people, and they make hard times.
We all know what we're talking about. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very true. And personally, we're all on that journey. Like, on a global cultural kind of level, we're on that journey. But personally, we're on that level as well. So yeah, bringing it back to that jumping in the water, giving ourselves a little, like I heard someone say microdose adversity. Like,
so you're talking about the midwinter swim, right?
Yeah. The midwinter swim, you're kind of microdosing adversity. Your body doesn't want to get in there. You don't want to go cold. So what are some ways that I can, expose myself to being uncomfortable?
Right? Part of you wants to rise to the challenge.
Yeah,
well, part of me did.
I think if we don't have a challenge,
and I feel excited about it.
Yeah, we lose our desire to live, right? Yeah,
and then when you've done it, you feel good.
100%.
Because you
or you're dead.
That tiny bit of hardship. Okay, we lost a couple, but that's all good. That can happen.
Yeah. There's this word like content that I've been thinking about a bit lately.
Yeah, man.
Right? Like, when is contentment a good thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
So many of those words have the double side. Like it's the bad side of being content.
Yeah.
And it's the good side when you're fulfilled. What's in the Tao? Like the hard way is the easy way, and the easy way is the hard way. Each that word hard's got those two meanings.
Yeah.
It depends. Like when you're content, you've lived a satisfied life. I guess that's contentment, and you've loved and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think we need to.
But if you're content in
well, if you're a murderer and you're content,
bad.
You've like, man, I just feel awesome today because I've killed heaps of people. I'm so content. And you're a murderer, it's not going to be cool. But it's, you just got to isolate it from, sort of things and see it how you would see it, right?
Yeah.
In its good light, yeah.
Like some of these seemingly like simple concepts are very complex. Our lives are very complex.
Totally. Well, the most simple thing. Yeah.
You can like dig deep in that one little thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise out there. That's what I've been observing lately.
Yeah.
Both physical noise, but just chatter, low-level chatter, which is the opposite of larger, more meaningful pursuits or things, right? So I'm tuning that out.
Sometimes I'm freaking out that I'm contributing to the chatter by doing the podcast, because every man and his dog has got a podcast, and I feel like man, sometimes I'm just contributing to this constant stream of stuff. But I think if you're able to really hone it down and sort of, like you say, it's not sometimes, because there's that the double-edged sort of a podcast is wanting to get views or create content and get attention, but also not kind of give a shit and just know what it is for you, and having that conversation and that relationship is kind of the meaningful thing, isn't it?
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Joe Rogan does quite well, is that he is himself, unapologetically. And I've never really watched a full episode. I don't know 100%, but that's the sentiment I get.
Yeah,
is that he's just doing 100%. His thing. He's leaning into his own passions and interests and curiosities.
I mean, the fact that
he's very, very genuine.
Yeah, and the fact that he's talked to Trump and he wanted to have Kamala on, that was crazy. I think that changed. I think that contributed to the. I think it contributed to the results of the election. Yeah. And I think if Kamala had been able to go on his podcast and talk, that potentially would have helped her. And I think, anyway.
But doesn't it just like, and I don't know, I don't really follow politics too much, but from what I saw, it was like, she made it difficult to go on the podcast. Like, she asked him to come to
Chucking
her.
Up a few barriers.
She didn't want to go on.
And had like, it's like, I'll give you an hour. And Joe Rogan's like, well, that's not how it works. This is an open-ended 3-4 hour ordeal, right?
Because Joe knows a lot of the good stuff comes on a bit later on.
Yeah, well.
Once your person's a bit opened up or what have you.
And that's an interesting theory
and she
as well.
knew that too, perhaps.
The elongated chat. Once you get through the half an hour barrier, that's when it starts getting a bit interesting, because you've sort of ticked off maybe some of the easier, lower hanging fruit. And then the real chat begins.
Have you done long podcasts?
Nothing in the 3 to 4 hour range, but I've done one that done a couple of 2 hour ones or around that mark. The highest downloaded episode was Dan from the gym. That's by far the highest, and that was in that 2 hour bracket, and it was because we went through this like it was just a really good like weird chat, it got way past the surface level stuff.
Ah, cool.
And that's like what Rogan does so well.
Exactly.
Just has a weird chat, goes off, and
you
circle back around.
Yeah.
But the other person's dropped some of their defences down, or maybe they feel more comfortable, more connected, more trusting.
And he's just done it a million times, so it's kind of like, he's built up a lot of muscle memory. He knows when to do this, that, and the other. It's just like, man, I'm always feel like I'm a little bit out of my depth. I'm like thinking flipping.
But you get to see the real person.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
I wrote this just talking about cheddar. I just wrote a couple of random questions, and I wrote this question under randomness. It was the power of silence. The power of silence. Because like when we talk, we have silence in between our speech and our speech pattern and all that. Silence is golden. Silence is such a important part of our world as well.
Agreed. I think it ties into actually listening.
True.
For comprehension and not just reply.
There's that stoic principle where I don't remember how to frame it in the exact stoic words, but it's like you don't jump in with first impressions. So if you say something and I have, maybe some sort of emotional reaction, I don't have to operate out of that emotional reaction. I can if I want, that's fine. But it's also good just to sit and wait. Just wait for a few seconds. And, like a different process will come forth. And sometimes that process is a little bit better than the knee-jerk, straight-up thing. Maybe Socrates or something would call it rational thinking of a more rational way, perhaps.
Yeah, I like that.
But just being a wee bit still.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, less hectic, but more still.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I like that.
I described that all really badly, but those general principles are kind of in there.
Yeah. Yep. It's hard to know. Like, you don't want to sort of be too disassociated. But also often it's exactly what you want. In a certain situation, you want to be a little bit separated, and you want to be able to look at it and make a sort of informed decision.
I think the point of the stillness is that it makes you more present and connected. That sort of stillness, not like a dissociation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Making.
This wasn't the right
I'm saying
word.
being more present, more present, listening to what's going
The
on.
opposite of
Yeah, the opposite. Feeling the subtle energies and just notice what's going on. But other times it's time to just yabber and just don't think too much.
Yeah, it's very tricky. That's what I find, like, even in business. Like, have you ever found that where you can get given advice and it's sort of, it can, like, I don't know, it's almost like it can't be true, or it's like it can be true and false at the same time, like business advice or something. And you're kind of like, really? Like, how does that work? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's why, with coaching over advisory or consulting, it's more around getting the client or getting the business owner to sort of come to that conclusion on their own. Because I find with giving advice, it's pretty hard to know the full context of the situation. It's pretty hard to know exactly everything, all information, right?
Totally.
And I think there's always going to be some level of bias with that advice as well. But
Because sometimes the information's in what the person has not said.
exactly,
And the pauses and all that sort of stuff.
that's a good point.
It's like where some of the good stuff lies.
Yeah, exactly.
What's an example, David, of what you just said? What did you just say?
Oh, it's where sort of things meaning, like advice or something can be kind of almost true and false at the same time. Kind of like the contentment thing with the murderer.
Yeah, right.
He's real content, that's good. But
Yeah,
it's
right.
not, so it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's not totally applicable with business, but what would I think? I don't know, you can kind of tick all the boxes in a business, and you can break down the cost of everything. You're like, sweet, everything's profitable. But then you can also say, but far out, we're not selling enough. We're not getting enough through, so therefore everything isn't profitable. And it's kind of like, okay, what next? And then you go to the next thing, and then you're like, okay, we need more, foot traffic, more people coming in, we need larger volume. And then you're like, sweet, tick that box. And then all of a sudden you find, shit, we've got larger volume, and now we have this problem. And it's kind of like constantly, I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to justify my my own business journey.
Maybe.
But, yeah. I mean, yeah, most probably.
But there's always going to be new problems, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I think that's that seesaw that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
Is with more sales comes higher production stress. More capacity equals the need for more sales, It's always this ongoing thing.
Yeah, we had a successful businessman on the podcast here, and he said there's just new sorts of fires to put out.
Yeah, totally.
Which other people are less up there. They don't need to deal with those fires.
That's
but we
it.
have to deal with those fires. People don't get it who are not in those realms, but there's lots of shit to do.
Yeah. What's that saying? Like, business would be super easy if there was no customers and no staff. It's kind of true. Like you're just marketing all day, or I don't know, talking to people.
We've had that. Like, the cafe would be awesome if there's no customers.
Yeah.
People do have those thoughts occasionally.
Oh, it's definitely a fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been 6 years in this site?
Yep, 6 years here. And during that time, I know a lot of central cities like Wellington and Auckland are finding it real tough at the moment, and cafes closing down for whatever reason, but I do feel Christchurch has had it like that whole time and beforehand, just with the quakes. Like, that has really sort of screwed things over, and for a long time people were saying, in 2 years' time, so we've been here for 3 rounds of that, and I now know that in 2 years' time potentially not much will have changed. So it's a case of really being creative, coming out with heaps of other things. Like, we make Pan 4-Day, we do the podcast, we do Sammy Bags happen, we do all this other kind of food that we kind of try and sell.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's Pan 4-Day?
Pan 4-Day is like an Italian Christmas cake.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
man. Grab a piece for Dave.
Pan 4-Day.
Help yourself, man. It's a Italian Christmas cake. So it's chocker full of spices. It's got nuts in it. It's gluten and stuff if you're allergic. First guest that we've killed.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
I think it's a traditional Italian from like
spicy dried fruit nuts.
Yep. But we did a couple of Kiwi flavours and a couple of traditional ones and so forth.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
Cool packaging too.
Yep.
Yeah, so
a couple of different iterations, products. Do you do catering as well?
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah, we do catering.
Yeah.
Actually, we did a whole heap of catering for the Williams Corp.
Oh yeah,
those guys are cool.
they are cool.
Yeah,
big fan.
Yeah,
Their podcast is actually one of the only ones I've ever listened to. Mm-hmm. Back to back, every episode religiously.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I've definitely listened to probably about 5 or 6 of them. I tend to just look at what it's about and then we'll listen to it.
Who's taking the podcast? Is it
Matt or Blair? Yeah.
Matt or Blair, oh yeah.
Yeah, they haven't been doing it lately, but I've got Blair back on mine later this month.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, it's going to come up. Come on, Blair.
Tell him to get his ass into Pilgrim.
Kick it bad off. Okay, get your podcast, go to hit Pilgrim hard.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, man, we enjoyed having those guys come to the cafe. They just had an office up and behind us.
That's right, yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's infectious.
That was real nice. It is infectious, which is that whole point of the people you're around.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think it's literally the only thing that matters, who you're around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does your day look like? Like a normal day for you, David, what does it look like? Because at the moment, you're just like one person.
Yeah.
Sole trader almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so typical day would be anywhere from like 3 to 6 coaching sessions down at the loft, down at my office, just down there with Brett there.
Right, you're based there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, the loft came about maybe a year ago or so.
Yep.
Through serendipity, which was cool. So yeah, a typical day would be the combination of like up early-ish, like around sort of that 5-ish, and then get some fitness in, hopefully, either run or gym. And then, coaching sessions. Then there will typically be a bit of admin of some sort. I do the events as well. So I do like a monthly lunch event.
Oh, okay.
Designed more around networking.
Yep.
And then do...
with all of your clients?
Yeah, exactly. Invite the clients. That's part of the coaching packages. They get access to the events.
That's awesome.
So yeah, do that up at Elements there, and then do a breakfast networking one. Mastermind. So it's more about education and upskilling. So we'll get in a speaker that's like specifically good or strong in one area.
Yep.
So like did an AI one yesterday.
Oh, cool.
With Brett's business partner Brad. Mm-hmm. So that was cool. Again, included for coaching clients. It's a good way to bring people together and provide different form of value. Like. It's not just me, it's this knowledge base of people in my network.
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah, I mean that's sort of the day, right? Bit of fitness, coaching, admin, event stuff, repeat.
For sure.
Yeah. Nothing fancy. Yeah.
Man, AI is crazy.
It is crazy.
What did he say? What was his take, like any particular area or?
It was largely around future predictions, some of the particular systems he's using. I guess it simultaneously inspired and also created a bit of fear, and it definitely got a few people thinking.
Because do you have quite a wide base of customers in different industries?
Yeah, there's pretty wide. Like, there's definitely a cohort in professional services. There's a cohort in marketing.
Yeah,
a few trades. Those are the main sort of 3. Mm-hmm.
I love that word, cohort. It's a tight, sharp word.
Cohort, yeah. Cohort. Yeah, I've leaned into it a bit lately.
Yeah.
Cohort. What was that other one we used? Tranche?
Oh, tranche. Whoa. Yeah, bro. Put that in the vocabulary list.
Yeah, tranche. Yeah, we grab a word and play with
Run with it.
Run with it pretty hard.
Talk it back and forth. It starts sounding a bit more natural.
Yeah.
Tranche.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
AI is crazy.
AI is wild.
It's good. I haven't used it much at all. I mean, ChatGPT. For me, AI is kind of like ChatGPT and that kind of thing. It's suppose for a lot of people, that's how it kind of manifests itself, I guess. But
a cohort is like a small group.
I think it's a small group of similar people.
Yeah, in the military, you might have a military cohort, like a bunch of 10 warriors or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they all share something in common, right?
Or is that a tranche?
Yeah.
What's
Nah,
a
a tranche is a slice of something.
Oh, that's a tranche.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, yeah, a slice or piece of, tranche.
Yeah, okay.
Rhymes,
That's more of a cross section, I think. Like a tranche is a cross section of something. Maybe there's not as much sort of defining them.
French.
I don't know. We just make up.
Anyway,
shit.
Don't you love when you find one of these words, right?
A tranche, because I've heard financial people say a tranche. I've got a tranche of this.
Oh, yeah.
Like shares or something. Yeah, a portion of something. That's what a tranche is, especially of money. Tranche.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It's funny when you're using a word like these words and you don't actually have it right. You're using it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Oh, correct. Yeah, but it's good to learn stuff.
Yeah.
Because one of our guests used the word tranche.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the only guest who ever used it. It's
Right.
like tranche. And they used it in a financial sense.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd seen that word written down, but I didn't know how to say it.
Yeah, gotcha.
No, here's that rhymes with branch, because I thought it was trench or
Oh,
something.
yeah,
But it must
gotcha.
be French. But anyway, it just means a portion. It's nice to understand what the word is when you hear people say it.
It is good. Yeah, I went through a phase of using agnostic,
Yep.
which I thought meant neutral. Like I'd use it in a context like I'm an agnostic part of your business. I'm neutral. Like I'm not biased in any way.
Oh, okay.
You know, like
Yep.
I'm wanting the best for you, but I'm neutral. But then I searched it because someone's like, does that mean you're like not religious? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And then I searched, I'm like, yeah, fuck, it does mean like not specifically any one religion.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And
misused
potentially, is it? Yeah, it's kind of someone that potentially, I don't know.
'Cause
Yeah,
that-
happy not knowing.
I know that
sort of,
first letter
yeah.
A that comes maybe
Ag.
from Latin.
Is it Greek?
It means not.
Is it?
So atypical means not typical. Agnostic is not. And then whatever Gnostic means,
Gnostic
not, you're not that.
would be probably a believer or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
So
belief.
I love language for that. You can break it down and understand.
yeah.
Because it's about understanding the reality. Language
Oh
explains
man,
and defines reality. It's so
it
important.
really
That's
does.
what I love about it.
Yeah.
That's
So when you
interesting.
use that word cohort, it's quite a sharp, tight word. It means maybe a bunch of people who have got a certain set of skills, and cohort seems people who are out there doing stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have a cohort.
Well, it's cohort clients.
you could have
Yeah.
a cohort of wasters, I suppose, on the street. Cohort of wasters.
Yeah, I think it's something that kind of joins them together. They've got a
Yeah,
common
it's a group.
common thread
Group.
theme. Yeah.
But it's a nicer word than just group. But it does also mean group. But
Anyway.
yeah, I love language. And,
Yeah.
and how it shapes and creates our reality.
That's interesting.
But AI is going to touch all of your different clients in different ways, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you guys use it for any specific use case? Like you mentioned a bit of ChatGPT.
I've used it a little bit for coming up with we're relabeling some of our food products and just for the blurb on the back of the jar. And to be fair, sometimes I use it for the actual podcast descriptions of a person. I'll write something, and I know it's a bit clanky. I'll kind of write, David is a business coach at this, that, and the other, and has his own podcast, this, that, and the other. And then like, if I know it doesn't quite fit together, I just chuck it in and say, "Can you just make that sound better?"
Make me better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
cool.
man, looking the other day, coffee grinders are now talking to the coffee machines, and the coffee machines are talking to the grinders, and they're
talking.
yeah, they're talking. They're freaking telling each other what to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Leave me alone. You're freaking hassling me all the time.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So each machine is now like a node in the network.
node.
And we are nodes as well. We're like human nodes. I mean, we're 3 nodes. So we're 3 nodes here right now.
What the hell's a node?
Sorry, mate.
Node. Can be word of the week.
Yeah. Oh, just like a point of
Contact.
contact and connection.
Yeah.
Like a business node.
An
or-
item. like a part of the
an
part of the
item or
network.
element or
Node.
a node. I actually don't know. I'll look it up.
I do believe with you, Dave, on the. I'm not agnostic about this. I do agree that relationships are super important. Like, living real relationships, and it's super important not to just have a relationship with yourself in your head, and even I think sometimes people or myself. You almost have a relationship with someone else in your head, but it doesn't actually get spoken, or it's not actually real. And you have to, that relationship thing is super important. Yeah. Just going back to summing up the conversation, Yeah.
For sure. Node is just a point in the network.
Point in the network.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
all it is.
Yeah. Do you find that, I would imagine you've got your group of regular customers and you've got ones that come in sporadically, then you've got randoms that might only come in once. Is that about it?
Totally. It's mostly repeat customers. So we have, I don't know what percentage, 80, 90. For most cafes, it's probably like that. And then, you get people, maybe weekly people, and then monthly. And then you just get tourists who are just here once and gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's...
It's
all
the
good.
occasional mentally ill person.
we
come
get
in,
homeless people.
Yeah. They might be demanding something or whatever. So you get that whole strata.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We do get super successful people and wealthy people and career-driven people all the way through to the flip side.
Yeah, someone who's just come out of Hill Morton or something.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
all interesting.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, occasionally there's even interactions between them, which is even better. Like Melissa especially.
Yeah.
She's like got some kind of schizo kind of something or other.
She's got something going
which
on.
which is fine, but man, it creates like humour and
Like she'll
I don't know, just life. So it's like a wave crashing against the sea, the beach.
Yeah, like she'll operate outside the normal societal norms.
Gotcha.
Sometimes, like she'll just walk up to a group of bankers who are like just talking in the corner, and she'll go, "Hey, how's it going?" or whatever, and just start talking about like your shoes.
Yeah, right.
And that's real interesting.
Yeah, gotcha.
And normally everyone's like, "Oh, yep," and they just sort of start interacting with Melissa or whatever.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of fun, right? Because it's the opposite of boring and vanilla. It's a bit wild, a bit spicy,
and
a bit dangerous.
And she brings it like a childlike naivete or something, which is a lovely thing to have.
Yeah, it's a different reference point, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she's also like really creative. She's creative, so all that creative, like how we were talking about earlier on, that childlikeness and creativity, entrepreneurship. So I can see all those connections there.
Yeah.
That's right, and they perhaps don't get talked about as much. Like we do talk about, like the noise that exists out there is quite controlled. It's quite measured. It's all kind of like professional, and it's quite we don't tend to veer into all of the other stuff that's going on.
Because you're stepping outside of their culture a little bit, right?
100%. Yeah, I'm quite big on
We
that.
like that around here.
Yeah.
How do you find that? Do you get pushback?
I love it. Yeah, I really love it. If I look at the goal of the podcast and the challenge, it really is to inspire people and to think a bit bigger, a bit differently, and to not be so safe and like conservative. I think living in Canada for 8 years, it really taught me about the power of that sort of American vibe of like fucking get after it, like do it, be successful. Like there's no shame in that. Whereas coming back to New Zealand, it was a lot different. Yeah, very tall poppy-ish.
Yeah.
Very conservative, very like meek and mild, and not to say that that's everyone, of course, but there's definitely an undertone of it.
Yep.
And so that's one of my big goals. Is really just to change that dynamic a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a powerful dynamic in New Zealand for a long time. I think it's changing now, thank God.
Well, I think so, and I think there's like this emerging culture and cohort, if you will, that is thinking differently, right? They've consumed a lot of international media and they've listened to, maybe some public figures or whatever that may be good, may be bad, but either way, they're definitely going against that. The opposite end of the spectrum of the conservative. So, it's sort of one thing I'm big on.
Cohort, a group of people with a shared characteristic.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I knew that, but I didn't know how to frame it. Just say it like that.
Tight definition.
Yeah, I didn't know how to do it tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what that is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like realizing yourself, growing beyond the cultural indoctrination or whatever, like self-realizing to some degree, and finding your human potential and saying, yeah, we can actually do this stuff.
Yeah. I think it's tying into that Ikigai theory as well, like finding out what your sweet spot is.
Yes. Yeah, it's got to be your sweet spot, right? It's no point struggling away doing something you're not into.
Yeah,
It's awful.
And you don't want to be driven by insecurity. Like insecurities have, play such a large part in life, right? Yeah.
100%.
And why can't what's the opposite of insecurity? Why can't our
Confident,
strengths
I think.
or our
Security,
confidence,
mate,
yeah,
security.
Like why can't we just play into that?
Yeah, one's fear, one's confidence. I mean, confidence is probably carrying insecurity with you, but you're confident, you're aware.
Yeah, true.
It's not like not being
yeah.
insecure. It's like, oh, I feel nervous or insecure. That's fine. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not being without insecurity.
No.
Insecurity is fine. It's part of what we are.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I reckon anyway. Also, cohort, ancient Roman military unit, comprising of 6 centuries. They're called centuries, those soldiers. 1/10 of a legion, so it's 1/10 of a legion. Must have been 60 in a legion or something.
Yeah, right.
So, it's a ancient military unit as well.
Oh, that's handy having the old fact-checking.
Oh, yeah.
Live
No,
on the
I kind of
podcast.
vaguely knew. I thought it was something to do with the Mongols,
Yeah.
the ancient Mongol army. But, yeah, the old fact-check's good. It's still operating well. It hasn't been, what's that word, enshittification of the information.
Oh shit, Milton, what?
Is that a word?
That might not be the right word, but where it's on Google, some of the information's not quite so good.
Oh, like Wikipedia. It's been censored. The censorship. You
And
mean?
it's to do with SEOs and
Oh,
that sort
man,
of stuff.
mate.
I think it's
Yeah,
called
yeah, yeah,
enshittification.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the actual word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little dude who was on Joe Rogan. I can't remember his name, but
little
he
dude.
was the one that started off saying, "I'm going to have a breakdown. I'm having a breakdown."
Oh, yes.
And he was just like straight into it, and he just was.
He's
he
like
was
a
talking
professor. He's a professor,
He's a
right?
professor, and he's been studying Google for 16 years, and he shows like factually with data and all of the information about how Google manipulates everyone.
Yeah.
And how it can just change the course of history and culture and stuff like that. And, man, it's insane.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, we need to be aware of that. But that
Yeah, you've got to
sounds
be
right.
aware of the calibre
Yeah.
of the information that you're reading.
Yeah.
I trust that. It feels right. No one's messed with that, I don't think.
No, man. Hey, Dave, we've got our breakfast menu up here now. Normally, I hand over a piece of paper and I say, "What would you like for breakfast?"
Oh.
But now it's up there.
It's up there.
Feel free to tell us what you would like for breakfast, and then we'll judge you and we'll make it for you.
The buddy sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can always tell the character of the person by what they order.
Is that right?
What do you want? Nah, not at all. You like the Pilgrim's Wee Buddy?
Pilgrim.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Sounds great.
I'll work that out for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
What is money?
Oh.
Oh, shit, Milton. Coming
Deep.
in with a
Zinger.
question.
What is money?
Curveball. It's got hard to just define off the cuff. Eh?
It's something, is it a measure of value or
I
something
guess-
or other?
I
It's a
guess
measure of something.
It's a tool, I think.
Yeah.
I think tool would be the word that comes to mind.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Like a IOU.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tool. An IOU. Yeah.
Because I remember just not learning this stuff at school.
Oh, man.
Well, I don't know if we're learning it anywhere, and I think there's some really good content out there. Like there's some great books and there's some YouTube channels and everything like that. But I think more conversations around money, and yet another reason for the podcast for me is just having a positive association with making money and wealth and trying to figure it out along the way. I wouldn't say I've got it nailed, but I'm definitely curious and I'm definitely keen to become better with it. It's one of those things we probably just haven't evolved to know how to handle it. You know, like we've not had money for a long time in the big scheme of things.
No. Yeah.
So I think if we're honest with ourselves, a lot of us are just fumbling along life trying to figure it out as we go.
Yep.
To varying degrees of success.
Yep. Yeah.
It's just the thing that's a major part of our lives, and I don't think most people even know what it is.
I think that, you know, that theory of like you get to X amount per year and you sort of pass that tipping point. The number used to be 75 grand, but it's probably gone up with inflation. But whatever that number is, I think there's some truth in that. I think once you can get into a state of like somewhat comfort, I think that sort of changes the dynamic or the mindset around it.
I think if you've got enough to do what you want in your life.
That's what I mean, yeah.
That's a good amount.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
But yeah, it's quite a tricky subject. No, for me it is anyway.
Is it? Yeah.
It's simple at one level, completely basic.
Yeah.
But at another level, it's quite a complex thing.
Yeah.
I guess in order to have a good relationship with it, you need to know what it is, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a medium of exchange and so forth, but that doesn't quite hit the right note for me.
I'm a really visual person, and so for me what really helps is having clear projections, like clear cash flow projections, both business and personal. It's something that I recommend like everyone does, just to conceptualize it a little bit better.
Cool.
I think we've all seen like really complicated financials, and that's not it either.
Yeah.
Because then it just becomes overwhelming, and then you're like more fearful of it, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you can break it down into relatively clear, concise projections, that really helps. And that links into the goal setting and just sort of they integrate together. But
yeah,
clarity.
Yeah, calm, clarity.
I think you were just talking about that. I read you were talking about. I read something you'd written. You were talking about exactly that, clarity, and I can't remember the other word. Not clarity. The importance of being focused and clear seems obvious, right?
Yeah.
Simple, focused.
Yeah, I think a lot of these themes keep coming up. You know, like the calm, the tuning out the noise, just being in your own lane. Like, you know, I think there's so much distraction now. Like there is, there's tech, and I think it's even harder to manage. You know, like it's great. It can be a great tool and a great resource, but it's also very easy to get distracted by it.
Yeah.
Whether it's social media or whether it's new systems or new AI, like I think sometimes you just got to step back a little bit and like, it was quite funny yesterday when had a little bit of time after a session, and so client and I went and had a bit of sushi and just lied on the grass, just disconnected, put the phones down, and it was so good. And I think a little bit more of that would be helpful. A little bit more nature and a little bit more disconnection from it.
Often it's counterintuitive, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those cliches usually make sense, like slowing down to speed up, and they are usually cliches for a reason.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Sweet. I think I'm going to have to be assertive and say that we need to finish here because I've got to open up the doors in 9 minutes.
Yeah, I was wondering when the time was.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. All right, I'll get the eggs going.
The 4-hour one would have been good though.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've listened to a few long ones like that. 3. Yeah, I mean most of Joe's are 3, but yeah.
Have you had any podcasts that's really stood out to you? Like one episode
in life, just like one of Joe's or something like that. Probably one that springs to mind is Jewel. There was a 90s singer called Jewel, she just told her life story to Joe. That was just freaking amazing. She grew up in Alaska, ended up in America, just culture kind of difference, and then she became enormously famous, made a lot of money. Her mum stole a huge amount of money off her, and she's just had a crazy ride. The woman that escaped North Korea,
Yeonmi
Park, insane, man, just outrageous. Managed to escape by being sold as a sex slave through China, ended up in South Korea and then ended up in America and then like witnessed the same kind of censorship and kind of crazy cultural Marxism or whatever you call it going on in America. That was a big standout one.
Yeah, the Columbia University, I think.
Those are two that come to mind.
We've got it pretty good when you use an example like that.
But the freaking health, like JFK, not JFK, Bobby Kennedy Jr. or whatever his name is. Like I found that I got goosebumps listening to him recount his family history of his father and his uncle, who were obviously both assassinated, and now he's in politics, and his whole journey of, you know, being a cocaine addict, a worthless kind of piece of shit, becoming a lawyer, an environmental lawyer, and now getting into politics and stuff like that. I found that just fascinating. Yeah.
Just a wild story.
Yeah. So, how about yourself?
Nothing that comes to mind. No one defining episode. Nothing comes to mind.
Oh well.
Sorry, I got nothing for you on that one.
Cut. Cheers, Dave. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks
David.
very much,
Thank you, mate.
team. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Cool.